massive media wants to use this opportunity to get into the history of the problems surrounding Nigeria in the present day Islamic agenda. Everyone is crying, everyone is shouting, all politicians, people are running helter-skelter because the jihadists, the bandits, and all kidnappers are ravaging the country from north to south. Then one would ask, why has this come to befall Nigeria at this very point, after years of military regime that could have curbed all the Islamization project activities that may destabilize the country? And today, this has now ravaged the country without even the past military heads of state that are alive today condemning and finding solution to all these problems. Such leaders include Babangida, the military president that ruled Nigeria between 1985 to 1993. Again is the military head of state, Abdulsalami, Abubakar, the general also from the Niger state of Nigeria, with his friend Babangida. Again, the present president of Nigeria, called Ahmadu Buhari. He was the Nigerian military head of state who overthrew the civilian regime of President Shagari. May his soul rest in peace. But going by history, Britain, the former colonial master of Nigeria, divided Nigeria into 3 regions after amalgamation and also after the independence. These regions were Northern region, ruled and headed by the late Ahmadu Bello as premier of Northern region. The Western region ruled and headed by late Chief Abubakar, and the Eastern region headed by late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Each region controls its political, social, and economic, including religious activities. In the north, the late Ahmadu Bello had his foreign relationship with the Arab world, of which in 1962 he made a declaration to the Arab world. That was in May 16th, 1962. Ahmadu Bello wrote letter to World Islamic Congress pledging for cooperation in his continuity to spread Islam day by day, a legacy his grandfather left for them over 200 years ago to accomplish. This was detailed by Mr. Pandey in 1986 in his academic work, page 537. Here you'll be able to get the elaborate analysis of this very particular quote. Unfortunately, Ahmadu Bello, did not fulfill this pledge before he died.
In the aim of acquiring self-government as soon as it was practicable. And finally, the emotion of joy. Greatly rejoicing that I can share with all of you this day an immense feeling of relief and contentment at the successful outcome of our advance towards the creation of a self-governing northern region of Nigeria. But it remains for me to express our keen anticipation on May the 15th, when we shall officially celebrate this day. We shall then welcome and be honored by the presence of their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. We shall also welcome many high dignitaries, both from the United Kingdom and from other countries.
But then he had, within the 1960s, as the Premier of Northern Region, he encouraged the youth to enroll in Nigerian Army, as the Southerners were also more dominant in the military as senior officers. And this encouragement benefited people like Yakubu Gowon, the former head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, General Abdulsalami, Abubakar, and General Ahmadu Buhari. This group of officers did not abandon this very pledge because they were taught this in their mosques. Unlike the Christians, where history is not part of the Christian religion, the Christians in the north are taught the history of Islam, Islamic movements, Jihadist movement, and how Islam spread to African countries, including Nigeria. They know the techniques, they collaborate with other Islamic world, and this never came until the recent times during the regime of Ibrahim Babangida, when he first registered Nigeria into OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference, or countries as it was called then. This registration generated controversies in Nigeria because he did not inform the Christians before he registered Nigeria into the organization. This was in fulfillment of the pledge the former Premier of Northern Nigeria pledged to the Arab world. And the Arab world was instrument to the overthrow of the regime of Sheikh Shagari, as well as the pressure mounted on first Buhari's government in 1984, of which there was little resistance to that. Then they cornered him using the Nigerian maximal military president, General Ibrahim Babangida. He accomplished this in collaboration with other Nigerian, northern and western Islamic scholars and businessmen. These Nigerian heads of states from the north acknowledged Ahmadu Bello as their great leader. They made a counter coup when the late Ahmadu Bello was killed and overthrown. This did not go well with them. His legacies they needed to accomplish, and this accomplishment was what Ibrahim Babangida did in 1986 January. He did not inform his ministers, he did not inform his second in command, all who were Christians from either the north or the south. He never consulted them, but he was in touch with the late Sadwana of Sokoto, Abubakar III. He was in touch with Gumi, the Grand Qadi and the Islamic scholar. He was in touch with all the Muslim leaders and ministers from the north of which that were later sent to face for the registration of this very OIC. This registration, as we earlier stated, caused controversy. However, when he realized there were controversies and the people reacted in dismay, he was then advised to form a committee of ministers and also congregation of some religious leaders, especially the Christians, to harmonize his registration into OIC. This was funny. The ministers from the Christian side were about 22 in number, of which some of them you see being mentioned in this very topic. The second in command, the Air Commodore Ebitu Ikiwe of Eastern Region, felt betrayed and questioned the rationale of registering Nigeria without consultation with all the members of the ruling council and himself as well. This angered the northern Muslim leaders who pressurized Ibrahim Babangida to force him out of the cabinet and the office of second in command. In this purpose, the second in command, late Commodore Ebitu Ikiwe, resigned, and all the Christians did not resign. All the 22 or 21 Christian ministers did not join him to resign, to make the protest against this registration to be forceful. What they did was they all relaxed and they took the positions and they continued with the regime, and having done that, it empowered both the Muslim leaders from the north and the Islamic organization from the Middle East and other parts of the world to pressure for continuity. And at the end of the day, there was a language that ended all the fears, that let the dying dog sleep, because Babangida manipulated the whole system and allowed the Christians to struggle on where and what to do. Has Christianity made the Christian leaders not to know what is good and what is bad? Has forgiveness anything to do with the total aim of the Islamic world to subject all the Christians to Islamic conversion? What is going on and what has befallen the Christians? They are easily manipulated by the Islamic group and they always fall victim and come back at last to cry foul to what they themselves saw but refused to combat it on time. Then the next president that added fire into this was Abdulsalami Abubakar. When the constitution of Nigeria was manipulated to give power, to give aid, to give everything to Muslims from the north and the west, the Christians saw this but had nothing to do. Not until the passage of the constitution. The moment the constitution was passed and the new government sworn in, they found out that the constitution gave them power to practice Sharia law and the Sharia law was then made effective in all northern states, 12 northern states, thereby depriving other Nigerians from the normal conventional legal system. This provided a good background for the Islamization agenda to be put into practice. Then came the regime of Muhammadu Buhari, who helped Buhari to assume office, who helped Buhari to take over the control of Nigeria after all the newspapers report of inducement by the Middle and Arab countries to push Nigeria into Islamization agenda. Those who aided the regime of Ibrahim Babangida were Christians, and those who did everything to install Muhammadu Buhari back to office were mainly the Western region group and the Christians in the north, especially those who wanted to benefit directly from Buhari's regime. The creation of Boko Haram was the yardstick to carry out such agenda, to fulfill the pledge of Ahmadu Bello to the Islamic world in 1962. It is unfortunate that other parts of the countries, especially the Christians, do not work with history. The Muslims, let it be known to every one of them, they work with history. They work with events of the past. They translate the past history into reality. They do not joke with it. It is the Christians who always leave the whole circumstance to God to resolve for them. God will do it. That does not happen where there is militancy to take control, militancy to subject people to the religion they do not wish at a particular point. They have to go back to read the spread of Islam in West Africa. How did they do that? It was through military conquest, through communal fight, through communal acquisition of land and killing of the owners of the communities to expand. This happened in the northern part of the country between the Fulanis and the Hausa people. The Kanuris did not give up, and the Divis, these are the reason why they now turn the war against them. Another question is, has Babangida, the former military head of state, who registered Nigeria into OIC, been condemning all the activities of ISWAP, activities of bandits, activities of Boko Haram, activities of kidnapping, and all other Islamic war against Nigeria? They do not condemn it on day-by-day basis if they do, but one looks out and researches to find how many times they have done so, including the former president, military president, Abdulsalami Abubakar. One will recall that these people go and research into various newspapers, magazines, and international news to find out how many times these officers, these rulers of Nigeria, those who aided in this very project, have condemned the activities of these jihadists. Their only anger are on the Biafrans, on the activities of ECN, and also those who are stopping the expansion of Islamic activities in Eastern Nigeria or Western Nigeria. In the present dispensation, where the political activities are going on in Nigeria, with the elections as stated that would hold next year, are the Christians also in the move to continue the expansion of Islamic internal wars and activities against all Christian-dominated states and regions, including communities in the entire Nigerian states. Advice to Christians in those devastated states. Christians who are praying and waiting for the Western countries to come to their aid when they are doing nothing internally to stop the spread of Islamic activities and killings. You don't wait for the Western world, because most of the leaders in Western world are from the Islamic background. They cannot help you because they themselves understand what the jihadists do and how they expand the Islamic control of states and other nations. Nevertheless, the Western world do not allow them to expand in their countries. It is the countries concerned that will control the activities of Islamic expansion, activities of jihadists, and the killings that is going on in the country. From the above analysis, one would understand that it was the time of Ibrahim Babangida that the promise and the pledge of Ahmadu Bello was initiated. This was supported by the drafting of constitution that has made the National Assembly to sweat. Has been condemnation of the 1999 constitution, as it made it impossible for Nigeria to be united and work in unity. Religion has divided Nigeria, and it will be very difficult to heal, because the Northerners, the leaders of the North, want to implement the pledge of Ahmadu Bello upon Nigerians to ensure that all Nigerians are Islamized. So finally, we found out that within the period of Babangida's manipulation and the registration of Nigeria into Islamic world or Islamic conference as led by Ahmadu Bello, we have prominent people like Augustus Ikomo, Brigadier John Chagaya, we have Brigadier David Mark, we have Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, Donkat Bale, Senas Obana, Tam David West, Chu Okongo, Olufalaye, Oluwole Ige, have Bola Ajibola, Clement Abambo, Anthony Ubo, Tony Momo, Alex Akindeye, Carlo Idika Carlo, Oluko Yeransom Kuti, Lamba Gwom, Anthony Obere, Alabo Graham Douglas, and others. These Christians within the Babangida's regime did not save Nigeria, did not save Christians from the problem that later today erupted in Nigeria. They never saw it as a problem, but today it has become a problem. The jihadists are doing so because Nigeria has already been registered into OIC, and what stops them from taking over the entire land and make all Nigerians to be Muslims. This brings us to the end of this program. This program is just to enlighten people on the journey to Islamization, which both the bishops, the archdeacons, the pastors, Nigerian Christian Association or Council as it was called then, did not force everyone to go on strike, demonstrations, and the ministers in Babangida's regime to resign for this to be stopped. But today, the effect videos and give us thumbs up. And again, ensure that you leave your comment and give us your thumb up. Thank you. This is an enlightenment program, and to keep people aware of what has happened in the past, and as evidence that the Christians do not fight for their rights and only shout when they lose. They fight through self-determination and through self-advantage or advantages. At the end, they put everybody in trouble. Thank you, and God bless you all for listening. Ensure that you make use of this very little exposition to help those around you